When the judge said life, it didn't feel real at first. It felt like noise. It didn't settle in until the doors closed behind him for the first time and didn't open again on his terms. Prison stripped everything down quick. Out there he had movement, options, people. Inside he had walls, schedules, and other men watching to see what he was going to be. At first, Carlos stayed neutral. That's how most people survive the early stage. Watch, learn, don't move too fast. But neutrality doesn't last forever in prison. Eventually, you either get pulled into something or something pulls you in. His connection to the gangster disciples didn't come from asking to join. It came from consistency. He handled situations without creating unnecessary noise. He didn't fold under pressure. And most importantly, he didn't talk more than he needed to. Older members started noticing that. One of them, someone who had clearly been inside long enough to understand how everything worked, started testing him in small ways. Conversations that weren't really conversations. Situations where Carlos had to choose how to respond without being told what the right move was. He passed more of those than he failed. Over time, he stopped being treated like an outsider and started being treated like someone who understood the structure. That's how it happens. No announcement, no ceremony, just a shift in how people deal with you. By the time he was fully moving with the gangster disciples, Carlos had already adapted to prison life in a way most people don't. He wasn't thinking about getting out anymore. He was thinking about how to exist inside. And inside, everything runs on systems. There was always an underground economy in the prison. Always had been, always would be. Staff tried to control it, shut it down, interrupt it, but they never saw the full picture. They saw pieces, incidents, confiscations, never the structure behind it. The gangster disciples were part of that structure. Carlos didn't jump straight into the center of it. That's how people get exposed. Instead, he stayed close enough to understand how it affected everything: respect, alliances, conflicts, but far enough that his name wasn't attached to anything directly. That position gave him something more valuable than visibility: awareness. He learned that nothing inside moved randomly. Everything depended on trust, timing, and who was allowed to be involved. The system wasn't built on one person, it was built in layers. People handled only what they needed to know, nothing more. Over time, Carlos became someone trusted within that layered system, not because he demanded it, but because he didn't break under pressure. He didn't talk when things got tight. He didn't move sloppy when attention increased. He pulled back where needed, stayed consistent where it mattered, and let the structure shift around him without trying to control it directly. That's what kept him stable while others got caught up in the pressure. Years into his sentence, his name carried weight, not because he was loud, but because he was steady. Inside prison, steady is dangerous in a different way. It means you've learned how to survive long term. He wasn't running anything openly. He wasn't trying to be the face of anything. But he was part of a system that moved whether people saw it or not. And in a place where everything is controlled, the people who understand how systems move without being seen, those are the ones who last.